in New York for the first time, and it's been the most incredible time, quite overwhelming. I was born in London, and about 20 years ago I moved to the south of Spain, to Marbella, lured there by flamenco and by the poetry and writings of Garcia Lorca, and more about him later. I'd like to share some of my creativity in case it resonates with you. I feel most present and alive when I am being creative, and it feels like the most incredible gift to be in that situation. So today I'm going to talk mainly about my painting, and which raises the question, why art, poetry and painting, and writing? And to me it's a mystery. I have no answers for you, but I do actually like mysteries. There are many mysteries. We don't know why or how the universe was formed out of nothing. We don't fully understand consciousness or where it comes from, and we know little about the mysteries of time. So I feel creativity, to me, it's another mystery to me, and I'm happy with that. But maybe I can share some of the ways that it works for me. So I believe it's good to pay attention to any ideas that come up and kind of haunt you, but with a proviso. I think it's not a good idea to talk about those ideas that come to you and to share them too soon, because they can burn out or get distorted. So I think it's a good idea to spend a time keeping them to yourselves. Waking up, as Lawrence mentioned, is a great time to access new ideas. Hypnagogic sleep, and very often I come up with a new idea for it might be a poem, but I think, oh, okay, I've got a notebook and pen next to the bed, but I really just want to go to sleep. And I'll remember this when I wake up, but that never happens. So my advice is, if an idea comes to you, always record it at the time. Conversations can lead to new work. We're so interconnected as a species, and so fortunate that we stand on the shoulders of those that have gone before, and yet we have our own unique lens and a very strong effect from new techniques and materials. If there's one thing that leads to creativity, I believe, it's employing a new way of working or some new material, such as the AI, such as it's just incredible. Digital art, all of these are new, and I think they fire us up. So I'd like to share with you, now maybe you know about this, but this is not so much about my painting as about my writing. I wonder if any of you have ever tried to use a stream of consciousness. And I have people in the audience. I don't know how you've gone about this. My method has been to plan that for a week or so, for 7 days, each day I am going to scribble in a notebook. And maybe 5 minutes, maybe 10 at the most. And the trick is to not stop writing whatever comes into your head, and however foolish and pointless it seems at the time. And then you don't read back what you've done. Put it aside and wait for about a month, or as long as you can bear to, and then look at it. And I have found that nuggets just jump out at me, ideas of things that I can put together, and it's fantastic for writing poetry and for giving ideas for stories. So that's of course, we all suffer from self-doubt. And, well, I don't know, maybe you don't. I suffer from self-doubt and fear of failure. But I believe that's all right. When I paint, sometimes making the first mark on a canvas absolutely fills me with terror. I put it off. I think, oh no, am I going to ruin it? But I think it's very important to take chances, and it opens up new avenues. So the painting that you're looking at, which I call the juggler, I'd like to explain to you, to tell you how that came about. So I was in London and I went to see the Shakespeare play, Much Ado About Nothing, at the Theatre Royal. And it so happened that in the foyer were the most extraordinary paintings. And I checked them out, and it turns out they're the work of a New York artist called Maria Kren. And she'd painted these huge landscapes and portraits. And then I realized that they were all inspired by Shakespeare plays. And sort of light bulb exploded. I thought, oh, I write poetry. Why on earth have I never gone to my poems and illustrated them as paintings? So I took 22 of my poems. They seemed the ones that were most visual. And each day I religiously made a sketch. It was a very rough pencil sketch, but what came into my mind looking at the verse. And you're looking at the first of these, the juggler. It was a new way to work. It went through many changes and is perhaps different to the other work that's going to proceed. It has nothing to do, in the end, with the poem that I wrote. And yet I feel that The Juggler is quite an appropriate title for it. The second painting that I made was from a different poem called The Crucible, and the lines that jumped out to me were, all heady beneath a night shed of stars. And you will see that this painting has nothing to do with nighttime or stars. And it's an instance of my going with what was presented to me, not what I wanted to do, but thinking, right, I'll let the muse guide me. And I've called it Lilac Wine, which is as a tribute to Jeff Buckley. And I started again. And then my next attempt was closer. So this is much more all heady beneath a night shed of stars. So the poet and philosopher Garcia Lorca talked a lot about the duende of creativity. And he said, it's dark, it's earthy, and it's dangerous. And if you invite it into your life, you have to accept risks and possible failure. Nietzsche describes two gods. He describes a god, Apollo, which represents controlled beauty, respectability, form, and Dionysius, which equates very much to the duende, which is the god of music, wine, and ecstasy. He's the duende, he's the beast you can never forget. So perhaps the gods are involved. And have you ever noticed, well, I feel that after a while, if I've made a painting or written something, when I come to regard those works, I think, did I actually make that? It's like an umbilical that gets severed with time. And is that really mine? It no longer feels like my painting or poem. But I believe it's the gift of both Apollo and Dionysius. So thank you very much. And I have some books at lunchtime, which are over on the desk there. And if anybody would like a signed copy, come and find me lunchtime, and I'll be giving them away. And that's it. Any questions?